Hey there, welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is the show that is dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So here we are at the Great Prog War again. This is day number 26, which will be featuring two bands that I have grown to like quite a bit, actually. One of these bands is fairly new to me. I discovered them on Ben's album challenge. Their album has been very strong for me, and that's IQ's Wake. The other band, of course, is none other than my favorite band, Rush, and their album Snakes and Arrows. Great album. So, in this battle, of course, as you know, I generally try to listen to each album again. That's my plan. Sometimes I get to listen to it, but somebody will interrupt or I'll be doing something. I don't hear it quite the way I used to, but I try to give every album a fair shake here. And it's how I feel about it today that matters. So we're going to start with IQ, which is the newer of the two albums. Well, actually, in retrospect, it's actually over 20 years older than Snakes and Arrows. It came out in the 80s, like 85, I believe, but it's newer to me. I know the Rush album is much older for me. I've been listening to it for 17 years or more. I think it's 17. No, it's probably like 16 years ago, I think that's when it came out. But it's newer chronologically because it came out in 2007. So, kind of an interesting battle here. These are two bands, of course, both prog bands. Although the Rush album is more of a heavy album. It's more of a modern kind of heavy album for them. But it is the album that led me back to the band's, got me into the band's post-classical era. It was and it's still my favorite of the post-classical era albums. Really solid album, lots of good stuff on it. The IQ album, again, I've listened to it now about 15 times, 3 times in this tournament, getting stronger every single time. So the two tracks on that I was most impressed with today that drew my attention were, of course, Outer Limits, which draws my attention every time I listen to the album. Such a great song, great keyboard solo on this album, very atmospheric. Really, to me, every time I think of IQ, this is the song that pops into my head. I love this song. It's probably my favorite on the album. But there was one other track that kind of drew my attention a few listens ago, but as really got my attention today, and it's called Comers, which is the last track on the first side. Has this kind of calypso sound that goes through it, and I'm thinking it's got to be a keyboard. It sounds a lot like a calypso drum, but it's actually, I think it's probably a keyboard used in that kind of same sound range. But I just love it. I just think it's so friggin' good. So good. And the rest of the album is really solid. This is an album destined to go on my playlist, if I ever can get it. But just so good. Such a fantastic album. I think the instrumentation is good. The keyboards are fantastic on this album. The vocalist, like Geddy Lee in some ways, took me a while to warm up to, but I like him quite a bit now. And I had the same problem with Geddy Lee. I didn't like his voice at first, and then now he's one of my favorites. So now on to Snakes and Arrows. This is a classic rock album for me. Fantastic album. Other than the songs that I normally like on it, I kind of found them a bit burned out this time, because this is the third time I've listened to it in a week or so, a couple weeks I guess. And the songs that usually draw me in, Far Cry, Armor and Sword, The Larger Bowl, and kind of drifted away from them, and Main Monkey Business. Those are the ones that I used to listen to quite a bit. Kind of drifted away from them a bit, I think, too many times and too little of a time period has maybe kind of burned out with them. The two tracks that I was enjoying the most this time were Malignant Narcissism, which is really a great instrumental. Both Neil and Alex are really strong on this, but this is a Geddy Lee center stage here. His bass playing is phenomenal on this particular track. I think it really highlights the skill level for which this guy has. The last song on the album, We Hold On, which is also another really kind of a strong track. And this one's more for Geddy's vocals. I think this may be one of the better tracks for his vocals on the album. Now, his vocals have faded quite a bit over the since the turn of the century. Since the 90s, he started to fade. Even then, he wasn't able to reach those high ranges he was able to get early on in his career. But it's just a really well put together song. I like it a lot. Album is still pretty strong. I don't have one for the Wake album. I had to listen to the Wake, but I listened to it on my new computer today. So the first time I've listened to an album on it. It's really solid, right? So this album is really strong. Like, it just gets that much stronger every time I listen to it. Could easily be in my playlist right now, but because I don't have it, I can't put it in there. Yeah, it always helps to have the album to do that, right? But just such a fantastic album. My esteem for IQ has grown quite a bit. And it just comes down to today, which one I like the best, you know. And I'm going to do something that I never would have thought possible. Rush is going to have to take a back seat today. Yep. I wouldn't have said this would happen. Ben will tell you I asked him not to put Rush in the competition because they're almost certainly going to win, no matter what you put in there, just because they're Rush, right? One of the great instrumental bands of all time. But he was going to put something else in, and then I said, you know what, just leave it. We'll deal with it, and we'll see how it happens. I'm going to try and be straightforward and honest about what I like. And right now, IQ wins this battle, and it's not really as close as it might appear to be. I listened to the Rush album, and then I listened to the IQ album, and I knew after the first couple of songs with the IQ album that it was stronger today. I knew it. So it wasn't really as close as it would appear. As much as I love Rush, and I do, you know, the album has been around. I've probably listened to that album, I'm going to argue, probably the most of any of their post-classic era albums. And I'm going to say probably between 300 to 400 times I've listened to that album, or the IQ album I've listened to 15. It's just actually coming into its strength now. So, yep, IQ is going to be moving on. And a little bit of a shocker, I guess. Shocker for me, anyways. And maybe for you too. I guess most of you probably figured Rush would go to the finals. And to be honest, I actually thought, how can anybody beat Rush? Nobody's going to beat Rush. But if I'm being honest, which I'm trying to be here, I just like the other album better today. You know, come back tomorrow, come back next week and put them together. Maybe I'd change my mind. But for today, IQ's Wake album is going through to the semifinals. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please tell me what you like better of the two. What were the two that what were your experience with these two albums? You know, that kind of thing. Now, please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And I hope you're enjoying this battle. I'm, you know, now that it's getting down to the final half dozen or so groups and albums left, it's really tight, and I'm concentrating more, and I'm getting more into the competition and trying to be honest, and you know, because you can't come on here and lie. There's people that will do that. They'll come on and lie because they want subscriptions, right? But you know, as much as I'd like to have them too, I don't care. I got to be honest. It ain't going to pay me off to lie. I don't feel like that's a good way of going. I watched a video today from the Wings of Pegasus, which is a guitar player who for any of you who haven't seen him, he kind of listens to and critiques other musicians' music and talks about it. And the guy's very honest, and he was talking about people that are cheating on doing YouTube and Instagram sites and stuff like that. And you know what? I think the guy is fantastic, and he's right on about being honest and straightforward, and that's what I'm going to attempt to do here. So as much as I love Rush and would love to push them through, they don't deserve to win today, and that's just the bottom line, you know. Anyways, I hope you liked, and please subscribe, and we'll be back. This will actually come out tomorrow morning, and we'll be back on Saturday morning for day number 20. This was 26, so day number 27. We've got a couple of pretty interesting groups left, I think. There's 4 left. Gentle Giant, Palace, Drawing a blank. Boy, you getting old isn't a good thing, you know. So, anyways, there's 4 bands left to go. Oh, Camel is going to be taking on. Can't remember. Gentle Giant is the one taking on. No, Camel and Palace are going. That's right. Gentle Giant's taking on whoever the other band is. Who I gone out of my head today. Anyways, I hope you enjoy the battle, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye.